Occasionally, you may see a need to create a more complex condition for your if statements or later in our repetition statements. These more complex conditions are known as compound conditions, where you combine two or more conditions. One single compound condition will return a true or false value once evaluated by the computer. We looked at these in the last chapter when we discussed logical operators. Logical operators are used to combine two or more conditions. If you recall our truth table, we took a series of true and false values to determine the outcome from each and or not logical operator. But let's look at it in a more real-world application. Who doesn't love tacos? I love tacos. So let's say that I am ordering a taco and I want lettuce and tomato on my taco. Of the 4 tacos pictured, which tacos or taco contains lettuce and tomato? Well, see, this is easy. This one only contains tomatoes, so it's false. This one only contains lettuce, so it's false. And this one doesn't have lettuce or tomatoes, so it's false. This one does indeed have lettuce and tomatoes. So this would result in a true condition for this taco. Now let's try that with our OR operator. Suppose we wanted lettuce or tomato on our taco. Which of the tacos would meet this criteria? Almost all of the tacos. The only taco that was false in this case was the taco that didn't have any lettuce or tomato. This taco had tomato, this taco had lettuce, this taco had lettuce and tomato, so thus these 3 tacos meet this criteria. Oh no, but what happens if we have our nut? Which of the tacos meets this criteria? Well, it may help if you kind of reword the phrase in your head. So, what if I said, I do not want lettuce or tomato? Well, the only taco that does not have lettuce or tomato would be the plain taco. Sometimes it helps if you read the condition out loud or read it out loud in your head, because the and, or, and not does exactly what it does in English. You just may have to think about it a little while longer on our condition. Okay, let's practice using a compound operator. We are going to modify whattowear.html to have 3 different outcomes. If a temperature is greater than 70, we're going to tell the user to dress for warm weather. If the temperature is between 70 and 33 degrees, we'll tell the user it won't snow today, but you might want to wear a jacket. And if the temperature is below 32 degrees or below, we want to tell them that it may snow, they should wear warm clothes. Okay, so we have 3 different alternatives. We have 3 different test conditions. We've already done a test condition where we could check to see if it was below 32 degrees, and we had a certain set of outcome based on that, and then an alternative outcome. We've also checked to see if something is greater than, so you worked on that with your vote project. But how do we get this? How do we tell if a temperature is between 70 and 33 degrees? This is where we'll use compound operators, and we'll also, as you can tell in this project, be using an if-else-if statement. Since we are going to reuse some of this code, this document.write and this document.write, let's not quite delete this if statement yet. This will save us some time typing. Everything else is going to remain the same. We still have a button that asks the user for the temperature. We still store that temperature in a variable called temperature. And when the function getTemp is executed, when that button is clicked with our event listener code. So the only thing that we're going to do is within the function add a new if-else-if statement. Should we choose to do so, we could also do what's known as commenting out this code. Comments are not read by the browser. They will not impact the final version of our web page. It is only used for developers to help explain their code to others that might work on their code, and also explain your code to yourself, because often when you're working on larger projects, you may need to refresh your memory on what a particular function does in a project. To comment out multiple lines of code, you use /*. Notice that all of the things after the asterisk, all of the text turned gray. That's because everything after this asterisk is not being interpreted by the browser. So we need to basically turn the commenting off, and we can do that by adding a */. Okay, so it's /* to start, */ to stop. Everything in between will be interpreted as a comment and thus not read by the browser. Okay, if I refer back to my flowchart, when I start this statement, I want to see if temperature is greater than 70. Well, that's easy enough. If temp greater than 70, we'll execute a bit of code. What do we want to tell the user if temperature is greater than 70? We want to say dress for warm weather. I'm going to copy one of my document.writes, Command-C to copy, Command-V to paste. And notice when I copy it outside of the comments, it becomes regular code. That's because only these are creating those comments. As long as I'm outside of those little characters, it's not a comment anymore. And I'll modify the inside of my text of the paragraph to say dress for warm weather. Referring back to my multiple alternative statement flowchart, if it is greater than 70, yes, we've done that, then our program ends. But what about if no? If no, I need to check another condition. And this is the condition that's a little different, because we're having to check to see if something is greater than something, but also, we're checking to see if something is less than a number, but also greater than this number. We can use our logical operators to accomplish this goal. Below our curly brackets, let's type the keywords else, if, and if we have an if statement, excuse me, those are supposed to be parentheses. If we have an if statement, we have to have another condition. If you just have an else, you don't have a condition. But if you have an else if, you have to have another condition. So our temperature needs to be less than or equal to 70, but it has to be between those two numbers. So of our logical operators and or not, which one do you think I should include? I should include and. Good. Okay, so temperature, if temperature is less than, oh, see I made a little typo there, hit the space bar when I shouldn't have. If temperature is less than or equal to 70 and temperature is greater than 32, or we could say greater than equal to 33. So you could write that two ways. Both sides of this condition have to be true in order for this condition to check true. So the temperature has to be less than or equal to 70, but also that temperature has to be greater than or equal to 33 before this condition will be true. Okay, let's have another set of curly brackets. I'm going to copy another document.write so I don't have to type all that out. I'm going to have two lines here. One is going to say, so now to say it won't snow today, you might want to wear, or you may want to wear a jacket. Referring back to our flow chart, if this condition is now true, we're having the output that we expected. But if this condition is false, we want it to say, it may snow today, you should wear warm clothes. This is what we had here, so I'm just going to copy that block, Command C to copy, and we'll do our else, our final else, and paste that. Okay, so let's review this code. We have our if statement and condition. If this condition is true, this code will execute. If this condition is false, it checks this condition. So this condition has to be false before we even check for this condition. Now, if this condition is true, this code executes. But if this condition is false, this code executes. Notice our syntax here. There are no semicolons on these lines. And our code after each if, else if, or else statement is contained in a set of curly braces or curly brackets. Again, we can find the pair, the matching pair of curly brackets by clicking just right outside of the curly brackets. So this is its partner, this is its partner, this is its partner. For our function, if I click there, its partner's way up here. Okay, and get used to working with multiple curly brackets. Okay, so let's test our code and see if it works. So I'll load this in a browser. Well, let me refresh first. Enter today's temperature. Today's temperature, let's say it's 80 degrees. Dress for warm weather, that's correct. Let's say it's 50 degrees. It won't snow today. You may want to wear a jacket. Let's refresh. Enter today's temperature. If we enter 32 degrees, it may snow today. You should warm weather. You should wear warm clothes. Woo! Okay, so we had 3 different outcomes. We used a regular conditional statement, and then we had a compound condition statement.